Penguin Random House Audio presents The Internet of Us, Knowing More and Understanding Less in the Age of Big Data by Michael Patrick Lynch. Read for you by Dan Woren. In the past, the things that men could do were very limited. But with every increase in knowledge, there has been an increase in what men could achieve. In our scientific world, and presumably still more in the more scientific world of the not-distant future, bad men can do more harm, and good men can do more good than had seemed possible to our ancestors even in their wildest dreams. Bertrand Russell. All I know is that I don't know. All I know is that I don't know nothing. Operation Ivy. Preface. The changes wrought by the Internet are sometimes compared to those brought about by the printing press. In both cases, technological advances led to new ways of distributing information. Knowledge became more widely and cheaply available, which in turn led to mass education, new economies, and even social revolution. But in truth, the comparison with the printing press underplays the significance of the changes being brought about by the Internet today. The better comparison is with the written word. Writing is a technology, a tool, yet its invention wasn't just a change in how information and knowledge was distributed. It was a new way of knowing itself. Writing allows us to communicate across time, both with ourselves and with others. It allows us to outsource memory tasks and therefore lessen our cognitive load. Not long ago, for example, I discovered a note my father had written, taped to the back of an old chainsaw I had inherited from him. It was more than a note, really. It was a little essay, detailing good and bad practice with the saw. My dad's house was peppered with such memos. He would write them as a reminder of how best to go about various tasks that one might do only irregularly, replacing the fuel filter on the lawnmower, shutting down the water heater. He would then tape them in a spot where he would be sure to later run across them. When I was a teenager, I found it embarrassing, but I get it now. He was a busy man and knew that he might forget a trick or lesson he'd learned while doing something for the first time. He was, in short, communicating with his future self, while simultaneously relieving his present self of the burden of remembering. That, in microcosm, is what writing allows us to do, and also why its invention is one of the most important developments in human history. It allows us to time travel and share the thoughts of those who have come before. The Internet is bringing about a similar revolution in our ways of knowing. Where the written word allows us to time travel, the Internet allows us to teleport, or at least to communicate in an immediate way across spatial gulfs. Changes in information technology are making space increasingly irrelevant. Our libraries are no longer bounded by physical walls, and our ways of processing and accessing what is in those libraries don't require physical interaction. As a result, we no longer have to travel anywhere to find the information we need. Today, the fastest and easiest way of knowing is Google knowing, which means not just knowledge by search engine, but the way we are increasingly dependent on knowing via digital means. That can be a good thing, but it can also weaken and undermine other ways of knowing, ways that require more creative, holistic grasps of how information connects together. New technology has always spurred a similar debate, and it should. During the heyday of post-war technological expansion in the 1950s, philosophers and artists worried about what that nuclear weapon technology was doing to us, and whether our ethical thinking was keeping up with it. Bertrand Russell, writing in the Saturday Evening Post, argued that we need more than expanded access to knowledge. We need wisdom, which he took as a combination of knowledge, will, and feeling. Russell's point was simple. Growth in knowledge without a corresponding growth in wisdom is dangerous. This book is motivated by a similar worry, and with a desire to do something about it. Yet where Russell was concerned with a specific kind of knowledge of nuclear bombs, my concern is with the expansion of knowledge itself, with how the rapid changes in technology are affecting how we know and the responsibilities we have toward that knowledge. Still, this is not an anti-technology book. I'm a dedicated user of social media and the platforms that enable it, the rise of which is sometimes called Web 2.0. I tweet, I Facebook, I have a smartphone, a tablet, and more computers than I care to admit. I am in no position to write an anti-technology book. Technology itself is not the problem. Unlike nuclear weapons or guns, information technology itself is generally not designed to kill people, although it can certainly lend a hand. Information technologies are more like cars, so fast, sleek, and super useful that we can over-rely on them, overvalue them, and forget that their use has serious consequences. The problems, such as they are due to how we are using such technologies. My aim is to examine the philosophical foundations of what I'll call our digital form of life. And whether or not my conclusions are correct, it is clear that this is a task we must engage in if we want to avoid the fate that worried Russell, being swallowed up by our technology. Storrs, Connecticut, October 2015. Part 1. The New, Old Problems of Knowledge. Chapter 1. Our Digital Form of Life. Neuromedia. Imagine a society where smartphones are miniaturized and hooked directly into a person's brain. With a single mental command, those who have this technology, let's call it neuromedia, can access information on any subject. Want to know the capital of Bulgaria or the average flight velocity of a swallow? It's right there. Users of neuromedia can take pictures with a literal blink of the eye, do complex calculations instantly, and access, by thought alone, the contact information for anyone they've ever met. If you are part of this society, there is no need to remember the name of the person you were introduced to last night at the dinner party. A subcellular computing device does it for you. For the people of this society, it is as if the world is in their heads. It is a connected world, one where knowledge can be instantly shared with everyone in an extremely intimate way. From the inside, accessing the collective wisdom of the ages is as simple as accessing one's own memory. Knowledge is not only easy, everyone knows so much more. Of course, as some fusspots might point out, not all the information neuromedia allows its users to mentally access is really knowledge. Moreover, they might claim, technological windows are two-way. A device that gives you a world of information also gives the world huge amounts of information about you, and that might seem like a threat to privacy. Others might fret about fragmentation, that neuromedia encourages people to share more information with those who already share their worldview, but less with those who don't. They would worry that this would make us less autonomous, more dependent on our particular hive mind, less human. But we can imagine that many in the society see these potential drawbacks as a price worth paying for immediate and unlimited access to so much information. New kinds of art and experiences are available, and people can communicate and share their selves in ways never before possible. The users of neuromedia are not only free from the burden of memorization, they are free from having to fumble with their smartphone, since thoughts can be uploaded to the cloud or shared at will. With neuromedia, you have the answer to almost any question immediately without effort.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?